Let's talk about Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
All right.
Just dropped, fresh, hot.
So let's just get this out of the way. What did you think of it?
I thought it was very good. It's definitely above average for a
Yeah,
Marvel movie for sure. But it's
100%.
not spectacular. But
I think we both agree it's better than fucking Black Widow.
oh yeah, like 20 times better than
Yeah,
Back Widow. Back
Black
Widow.
Widow.
That's what I said, and I'm sticking by it.
Um, I I loved it. I 100% loved it. I'm not gonna say it's one of the best MCU movies ever, but like you said, it's definitely above average.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be I'm mostly just excited to see where he goes in future movies.
Yes,
Is the biggest thing. He's got a lot of potential, and I love him as a character.
yes, that's 100%. I will go as far as to say he's definitely one of my favorite MCU characters in a while.
Mm.
Um, he's got like a certain charisma to him. Even the actor looks like he fucking enjoyed playing him so much. The dude's humble as shit, by the way. Um,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've seen some stuff in as well. I want to real quick. What I just want to see, like, I want to make sure that Simu Liu. That's
yes,
his name. I want to make sure I pronounce it right. Simu Liu.
yeah. He looks like he enjoyed the role, and it shows. He did amazing. He didn't feel
Oh
forced.
yeah,
He
he's
didn't
phenomenal.
feel. He's
Really.
great. I loved him. I actually even like the chemistry between him and his friend Katie.
Yeah.
I loved their chemistry together. I loved her as a character. Just about almost all the characters in this movie were good. Um,
I
the
would say though
choreography.
this is a movie that the whole time watching it, I was just thinking, like, I was trying to like ask myself, like, this doesn't even feel like a Marvel movie, like, at all.
No, it feels like a kung fu flick, but
Yeah,
not in a bad
people have
way.
said, the friend I saw it with said, reminded him of like a Mortal Kombat type movie. People have
Hmm.
compared it to like some of the end stuff like Dragon Ball.
Yeah, but
Yeah, very
there's
interesting.
nothing, there's nothing wrong with that at all, though, because it works.
No, yeah, works very
It
well. And
works. It
before we
busts
go any
it.
further, we'll say we both really enjoyed it and
Yeah.
highly recommend it. And
Yes.
from here on out, we're going to talk spoilers.
Yes. Yeah.
That
Spoiler
whole
alert from
movie.
here on
We're going to
out.
go through everything. So
Everything from memory for sure. We
yeah,
didn't get
we
to
don't
break
have
it down in depth. We've only
yeah
seen it the one time, no notes.
yeah. So
Um,
we're just going to kind of go off of how I remember. I've got some plot stuff pulled up, so we won't forget everything. But
yeah. So the intro, I genuinely love the intro. It hooked me right in. Talking about we're not even gonna call him the Mandarin because he clearly does not like that name himself. We'll get more about that in a second. But you know, um,
I mean, well, he is the Mandarin though. Like,
he is the Mandarin, but
purely
he's
based off
not.
of. I wouldn't call him the Mandarin if we hadn't had the Marvel one shot
Yeah.
where they specifically state, like, you took his name. There's a real the Mandarin, and we are
Yeah.
going to take you to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He is the Mandarin, except they gave him that name, but really he's not the man. Like the comic, he's not the comic
He's not
Mandarin
the
at all.
comic
He's
book
not that
accurate
character.
Mandarin. No, no, no.
He's a completely just different character that they've called the Mandarin,
Yes.
essentially.
Yeah. But he's great. Um, the intro with him and he just rides right up to that group and they shoot the arrows at him and then he jumps into the air and he like slams down on him and it's like,
Rashes him,
dude,
hits
just
him with the
it's
classic Thor slam.
yeah, classic Thor. But no, for real, like he's awesome. I love those 10 rings. I love the visual of it. I like the fighting style
Yeah,
with it.
fantastic
Amazing.
concept and choice to turn them into like bracelets rather
Yes,
than
bracelets instead of actual rings.
rings. Yeah,
Yes. Um,
and that does mean they're pretty much entirely different from comic book
oh
rings
yeah,
because the comic book
100%.
rings are basically like almost like Infinity Stones. They each have their own
Yes.
abilities and
Yep.
different
You
like
have three
attacks.
elemental ones.
Yeah,
You
different
have
ones like for controlling minds,
yep.
like just all this different stuff, which I don't think we'll ever see with these kind of rings.
We
But who
we
knows?
won't
They
see
could do
it,
whatever they want, really.
but yeah, I mean, there's literally a light and night or light and dark ring. I mean, you have one
Yeah,
that's for influencing, which like you said, telekinetic abilities and stuff. I don't know. It's very,
yeah.
very cool. So we're not going to see those, unfortunately. We
We
might, we
may
might
like abilities like that may come through, but I feel like at the same time,
with the way
having
they
the
have
different
it, it'd be
rings,
weird.
yeah, it would be a strange thing. But maybe they'll they might pick and choose,
Yeah,
like a little like he has this ability that was from the original rings or something.
yeah.
Because there's a lot of room for like
More
upgrades
lore,
in
more
his
lore.
yeah more stuff to come out and be like, oh, I didn't know I could do this with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So,
Um,
I mean, honestly, the one thing I will praise this movie 100% on that it's better than I will say about 75% of MCU movies is the choreography. The fighting,
I think it's the best of probably
I think
every single
so.
MCU movie.
I think so.
Yeah,
Honestly,
easily.
yeah. It's so well done. And like even when they do like quick cuts, like they're so good because I did notice the scaffolding scene. You know
Mm,
what I'm talking about?
yeah,
When on the side of the building, there's a lot of cuts in that. Not a lot. There's a decent amount of quick cuts in it, but they're not quick cuts where you lose the action. They're not quick cuts where you
and
don't know
not
what's going on.
really. It's more just like switching angles between what's happening, but it's
It's
not. It's
still
not like
quick
quick
cuts.
cut. It's not quick cut like to cut around. You know.
Yeah, around the non-action, it's more like quick cuts so
Yeah.
you can see the angles, but it's still quick cuts in between. But you're not losing the action. You can clearly tell they're fighting. You can tell what's happening. You can tell the stunts are being done a good chunk by him, like for sure.
Oh, a
Um,
ton of it. Yeah, he's
yeah,
like
he's
extraordinarily good at kung fu and martial arts and all that.
yes.
So
That scaffolding scene is so good. It's not even the best scene in the movie, but it's so good.
yeah.
Um, the bus scene. Jesus, that bus scene
The
was
bus scene
uh
is my favorite scene in the movie, hands
it was
down,
good,
easily.
dude. He was
I
just
was
left and
like
right, just
losing. I was like geeking out the whole time over because like, and the reason I'll say like, I said this to my friend who I saw it with, like, you get to all the end stuff where everything goes crazy and he's using the
yeah,
rings and he's got these like power attacks and it's like super Dragon Ball style like stuff.
yeah,
But like when you get to a point with that, like when you have like these, dragons and mystical rings and stuff, you're not very limited like creatively. Like you can do so much with that.
yes,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
But when you have just hand-to-hand combat, and that's been done a million different times, it's like, how do we make this interesting? Like, it's much more difficult to make an interesting hand-to-hand combat sequence than it is with all that.
yeah.
And my
And
God,
they
like
did it.
I've
They
never
did it.
seen anything like that bus sequence in my life. Like
That bus sequence was badass as hell. It was so
unbelievable,
good.
like so creative. The
Yeah,
like it's like 10 minutes straight of him just
hand to hand.
finding new ways to like use the environment to dodge around and kick this guy, going outside the bus, inside, going around and using the
He's so
bars. Like,
agile.
yeah,
He's so
unbelievable.
agile. My God,
That's
bro.
another thing that I loved is in this movie, rather than having it be like this origin story of seeing him grow and like learn his
Yes,
abilities
he's
and
already
stuff.
he knows what he is already.
We're the same as Katie in that situation, where
Hmm.
like I was assuming going into it that like he was gonna have to, he was a normal guy and that like he
Yeah,
was gonna get attacked and then they were gonna escape and then he was gonna find out, oh, you have these abilities and you can do this stuff, classic
yeah.
stuff. But he just goes crazy and you see he already knows like all these martial arts and like, oh, like that's really surprised me.
And we did get some origin where you basically see like the beatings that he took growing up, so he can become as tough as he is.
Oh
But
yeah.
they didn't dwell on it. They didn't make it a whole thing. It was so
Hmm.
good.
Yeah, and I love as well, like, it kicks off really quickly. Like it felt like you got
Yes,
just enough of his normal day-to-day life with her and like her family, and
yep.
then because
Just kicks off. Boom.
it actually surprised me. Like I thought they were just gonna have a little bus ride and go somewhere, and because
Yeah,
again I hadn't seen the trailers, so I didn't
yeah, yeah,
know all this stuff was in, like, I wasn't expecting it. I was like, oh, they're just, they're going somewhere, they're gonna wherever they were going to their job again, and then it just kicks off and you're like, oh my God,
yeah. It's
crazy.
so good. I did watch the
Yeah.
trailer, so I knew some shit was about to go down on the bus. But I still was not. The trailer did not show enough. The only scene that they showed in that bus fight was the guy with the medal with the blade.
Yeah, Razor Fist.
And when he dives through the other side of the bus while it flips over.
Oh,
That's
at
the
the
only
very
two things that
end.
they
Yeah.
showed. Yeah, they didn't show you. They just showed you a little bit, like quick little things here and there. But like the trailer didn't do it any justice. That fight scene is so good.
Yeah, I've heard people saying like, yeah, like the trailer does not do justice to how good this movie is.
True,
For
it does
sure.
not. Yeah, it's phenomenal. I
Yeah,
mean,
I could gush about that bus scene for just hours. Like
yeah,
it
no,
was
for real, I
so
could.
good, bro.
Um,
I
but
really need to see it again. And
oh, I'm watching it again.
the scaffolding sequence is also probably my second favorite action sequence in the movie. Just that
Yes,
side of the building. Again, not something, I mean, that felt maybe slightly more familiar, but again, something I feel like I haven't really like seen, not to that degree.
yeah.
Um,
Honestly, the first movie that came to mind was Rush Hour, just because the Sheik fell off.
mhm.
and she was grabbing onto the bamboo, and it reminded me of like the whole Jackie Chan and like Chris Tucker thing. So whatever. There's a scene like that in Rush Hour 2. Um, but it doesn't even matter. Like it was still so well done. It's a lot more serious, and
And I actually felt like a good amount of tension in that sequence
yes,
because when she fell, when she dropped off of his hand, I was like, oh,
hmm
she's dead. That's it. And I was like, wow, that's bold. And then she got caught. But
yeah,
like, I wasn't expecting it because I was like, as far as my brain was like, they're alone. Like nobody's gonna catch her.
yep,
I was like, wow, that is really bold. They're just killing her immediately.
yep. And then we get to the
And then she
part
got caught.
where the sister loses her necklace. And he chases
Yeah,
the guy down, and he goes to kill him. Like he has like this fit of like rage where he remembers everything that this guy put him through, and he goes to kill him,
yeah,
and then his father stops him.
yeah,
And clearly his father is very powerful because boy, let me tell you, he went from having this real bad attitude to just being like, okay, let's just go with you. Like they gave up. They knew they were not no match for him.
yeah,
Um, so they went back with him, and wait, no, we're skipping over something real quick. During that tournament, that fight scene,
yeah,
we
yeah.
got
Wong and the
Abomination.
Abomination.
Yeah, yeah. They gave me a nice little slip with that because let me tell you right now, I was expecting for him to be in the after credit scene, which we'll get to more later. But we didn't get to that. Instead, we got Wong beating Abomination, which was
Yeah,
nice.
easily.
But then we end up learning it's a setup.
A
Like,
setup. Oh, like he
yeah,
brought him
yeah,
in to
yeah.
like
Wong and
practice.
him were working together though. Yeah, they were
Not
just in on it
not
together.
practice. Well, they're technically practicing, but like he's that just to make money, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Because he tells him, oh, he says something along the lines of like, oh, that hurt, right? Maybe now you'll learn how to pull your punches a little bit better, or something
Yeah.
like that, right before they leave. And it's like, what? Like, what is going on with that? Like that raised way more questions than it gave me any
I
answers
guess
to.
the idea is that that they're like Abomination is such like a creature that they're like holding him in the Sanctum Sanctorum or like something like that. Like that
Something.
they're keeping him prisoner or not
Yeah.
necessarily prisoner because I guess they seem kind of like buddy buddy in a way. It's
Yeah, that's what I'm
weird.
saying. I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna get answers. We're not done seeing Abomination. We're not.
But that was
Um,
what you had mentioned. Rachel spoiled for me a little bit that he was
yeah.
in the movie, and so, but having not seen the trailer or anything, I was like, my in mind, I had assumed like he's going to be like a little like mini boss or something that he would show up and he'd be like
Nope.
released and they'd fight him or something. But no, he's just there for like
Yeah.
20 seconds
Complete
and
side
then
fucking
gone.
character.
And I was
Yep.
like, wow, okay,
Yeah. And then like yeah, they make you think he's gonna fight Abomination after Wong or something, and then he ends up fighting his own sister. And then
yeah,
we go through that whole scaffolding scene, and then like I was saying, they go with the dad. Um, and the dad comes off genuinely very nice. He does. He doesn't come off evil.
he's
Right
not
off the
evil.
bat,
I think
he's not
is the
evil. He's
thing.
not. He's not. He's very he was very misguided, but he's not evil, but there's an aura of him where you can see the fear, with the daughter and the with his son and daughter. You can see a genuine fear in them, but at the same time, they're not completely feared of him. You can see that there's also love there.
Yeah, and it's but like even when he was like forcing him through training, he was like punching that wooden
Oh
uh
yeah, and he tells him,
whatever, and then
that's
he like
enough.
cares for him and like he
Yeah,
like stops him a little bit,
um,
even though he put him through all that. You could tell he still cares
he
about
still
them.
cares about him. He loves him. Yeah, yeah. He does. He genuinely, honestly, I like this Mandarin rendition. I like where they're going with the character. Yeah, so we won't talk about it more. We'll wait till more so at the end. But
I mean, he technically, for what I found out, I was watching videos recently. He really is more like they took Shang-Chi's dad from the comics and they
yes,
just made him the Mandarin. So
yes,
essentially, the character is Shang-Chi's dad, but they gave him the name of the Mandarin and the Ten
exactly.
Rings and all that, which was not a thing, I don't think.
No, but honestly, again, I like where they went with it. I do. I genuinely like where they're going with it, especially when we get to the after credit scene, second one.
Yeah,
But we'll talk more, when we get there.
yeah.
Then we
So
have
yeah, they go back to the compound for the ten
yep,
where the Ten Rings are at, and
yep. And one of my favorite parts,
which is
we get Trevor.
no, you're skipping way ahead. They gotta they they have that dinner conversation where he kind of talks about the wife or their
Oh
mom
yes, the
and what
mom
happens
and what happens. Yes,
and
yep.
which is very interesting and at first I was like I didn't quite get like I was like he's saying like she's calling to me or whatever like she's still alive and I was like oh okay
Yeah, that's
weird
right. You're right. Yeah, he's like, oh, you I hear her. She was sitting right next to me. I could feel
She's
her
being
breath
held.
in the back of
She's
my
been held
neck.
captive in the village behind a gate
Yeah,
or whatever, and you don't know like the context yet. So you're like, oh, okay, I guess. Like I was like, doesn't sound like the craziest thing because if she was still alive, I was like, because he says, if they're still holding her back there, we'll charge in there if they won't let us in, and like make them give us her. And I was like, okay,
and the
yeah, I
thing
mean that
is,
makes sense,
he believes
honestly.
it. He strongly
Well,
believes
that's
it
the
because
thing,
he's
yeah, like
hearing it. That's how you know it's not that he's evil. It's he's being misguided, and it's just like, damn, like you kind of
at
feel
that
for the
point,
guy.
yeah, at that point, like if that was me, I don't know, yeah, I don't know what I would do. Like, you know what I mean? Like if there was a chance, even like the
Yeah,
chance, like if especially if you hear her voice and it sounds just like her, like
yeah,
you would like regret it for the rest of your life if you didn't take the chance that she
yeah,
might have been back there. You know what I mean? So I totally like understood like why he wouldn't back down. It made sense, honestly.
yeah.
But
But
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
they use the pendants to reveal that map through
Hmm.
through into
Oh
Talo.
yes, awesome scene. I love that fucking scene. You know, you have the
Yeah,
water, and then it crashes down, and it's waves, and then it turns to
it's
like
like ice.
the ice is like flowery, and then you see that it's a map to the maze
Hmm.
to get into what's that place called? I can't remember
Talo.
what it's called. Yeah, Tallow.
Yeah.
To get into Tallow, and it's very cool.
But
But
then that was the
then
thing that was a little weird to me is that he's like, yeah, she's there. We need to go get her. And if they stop us, like, we'll just charge in there and take her anyway. And
burn the village.
Shang-Chi is like, no, what? That's
Yeah,
crazy. But like, wouldn't you be like, wouldn't you be like, but like if there is a chance that she's alive, wouldn't you be like, okay, yeah, like
but
if they're
that's the thing.
holding
There
her
is no
captive, we
chance
would fight them,
because
wouldn't we?
yeah, that's just it. There is no chance for Shang Chi because he watched her die.
Yeah.
So you got to think of it from
But
his point
it's
of view.
more,
He for him, he
it's
physically saw it happen, so he's already mentally scarred by this still.
in the movie though, it's more that he says like, no, you can't burn down the village. He doesn't say like,
Yeah,
no, I don't believe you. He's just like, no, we can't burn down the village to get to her. He doesn't like
yeah,
say like, no, I don't believe you. Not
yeah. I
until
mean that's
later
true.
when they tell him, he's being manipulated. He's like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
but
But yeah, so then and I was in the theater and I heard, the whoa, whoa, when in the prison cell, and I was like,
yeah,
I literally turned to my friend. I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, it's him, because I was
yeah.
worried when they had the dinner sequence,
And he talked about
and
it for a
and he
moment.
talked about it, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be it. He's not actually gonna be in the movie. Shame. And
Yeah,
then I was like, yes, he's there.
yeah. But yeah,
Trevor Slattery.
yeah, and he's just as funny as ever.
Yeah,
And then he's got that little creature with him.
Morris. Yeah,
Yes, Morris. And it's so good. His sequence is just so good where he's explaining stuff to him, and it's
like, sorry,
so
what?
funny.
Who? What? Where? What are you doing? Like, why are you here? He's
But
just,
yeah,
yeah.
I love that that reveal was there. It's funny because I thought he was just gonna be, a one shot. No pun intended with that one shot thing, but for
They
real,
just
I
like
thought he was gonna be
randomly
like a
just like
one
show
shot
up,
thing.
or like they're walking through the prison and he'll be like in a cell as they pass
Yeah,
by or something. Yeah, but
but
no, he's like
no,
a
he plays
major
a
character.
significant. Yeah, he plays a significant role, a
I
very
loved it though.
significant role. And yeah, and so did I. I love that they did it. Um, So then they talk about they're having this. It's funny because they're having this conversation and blah blah blah, and then like the sister interrupts it by breaking the
Yeah,
wall, and she's like,
yeah.
"Yeah, there's
It's not like
there's
that last time. They just they don't
yeah."
care.
She's like, this is not the first time. This is where I ran away from. So
Yeah,
um,
but yeah. So Morris says, I can guide you
yep,
through Talo. Which, by the way, that like design is so interesting. Like a
come on for the
very
creature.
Yeah, a very
Yeah,
like any other movie, and it's like such an opportunity for them to like make a super cute little like thing that talks
nope,
and has eyes and a face, but nope, which I
yep.
respect, like not making it like this like marketable like little
But
cute thing.
still somehow cute, somehow still kind of cute
Yeah,
just because
yeah,
of the way it acts.
exactly.
Um,
Yeah, so
so
then they
yeah, and
break
then they
out, they get the
escape. Yep.
cars, steal Razor Fist's BMW.
Yeah, he's like, "That's my car." It's so funny, but
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, they take
and
his
so
car and
they
they follow, Morris's directions
through
and they get to where
the
they need
maze.
to. Um, and then we have this awesome sequence, in my opinion, of the look at all these creatures and the look of like the
Yeah.
little area, and it's just like again, this movie visually, it's nice.
It is
It's
nice, but I
colorful.
felt that sequence and as well there's the sequences at the start of the Mandarin and their mom meeting. There was I feel like there's some lacking CGI in some of those larger like like landscape
Yeah,
views, in my opinion. Like it feels a little bit
dumbed down,
too
watered
not
down,
dumbed down, but just like it doesn't feel real. It feels a little bit too fantastical in terms of
supposed
like
to
the
though.
lighting and stuff.
I think it's
I just
supposed to because it only turns like that when we're in that world, but it's because this is supposed to be earthly, but not. So I do feel that was intentional
Well, but like
because
the I'm just mean like in that scene like where the Mandarin and the mom are fighting or whatever, like the lighting felt very artificial, like it didn't and that was like that was clearly pretty like a lot of that was a set. That
yeah,
wasn't
it was a
very
set.
CGI. It
I
just
still
like
think that was intentional though. I really do. I think we're supposed to get this sense of like it doesn't seem real. Like it's supposed to be different than compared to the rest of the world because like she like like he was explaining in the intro, he was like, oh, he's conquered everything. He's conquered the world except with this one place, and it's this. And so this is supposed to feel very not earthly, but it's still on Earth. So I do feel that it is intentional. I do feel it's
yes,
like
but
that on purpose.
I just didn't like the look of it. Like it felt like I could have
Something was
it
off
could have
about it.
been I didn't feel like beautiful like it should have, in my opinion. Like it felt so bright, like almost overly bright,
Like
and like
overly
not enough
saturated.
color, like just a lot of like light green and stuff. Like I don't know. It made sense, I guess, but I think it could have looked a little
Better.
better, in my opinion. I mean,
I mean, I'd have to rewatch it, and I'll tell you then. Because honestly, like I'm remembering it very vibrant, and very colorful. But I'd have to rewatch it. I mean, we'll go into more depth
I
of
mean,
it some
the
other time.
creatures certainly. I'm more just speaking on the landscape.
Okay, yeah. I mean, the
But
creatures
the
were awesome.
creatures looked fantastic. Yeah, I'm just talking
Um,
about the landscape essentially that they were placed into. Like they stood out so much more than they should have in like this weird kind of like light background. I don't know.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, the creatures were dope. I love seeing the different designs and stuff. And
yeah.
that weird like dragon horse that just like stares at them.
Oh yeah, and Trevor's like, "Why is he looking at me for?"
Yeah.
um, and then
They arrive at the village
and you
and
meet
meet.
the aunt.
Yeah, her
Um,
Lee's sister,
yep, and then
and she basically tells them, everything that happened with
yep,
the soul suckers
yep,
and all that. Explaining, that the dad is being like deceived 100%, and she
yep,
gives them their suits, their like armor, the dragon scale armor suits.
which looks awesome.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Still, though, my favorite look for him in the movie was the look he had in the bus, like that like jacket and just like
Yeah,
I love that. I feel like that's like a very kind of like almost I don't know. That's kind of like an
modern.
iconic look. Yeah, like
Yeah,
modern
very modern.
interpretation of something that he would wear. It looks so good.
It does. It looks
But
good.
but yeah, his suit at the end also looks dope with the dragon scales and all that.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked it. I mean, the sisters I thought looked way better. I thought the white looked really good on her,
Yeah, really
um,
cool.
which is very funny because in contrast to the ending, is very different. But once
Yeah.
again, yeah, once we get to that, because she seemed very different.
Yeah,
And then
Katie.
hey, let's not
Katie
skip over
also
Katie's
gets.
training. Yeah,
Yeah, she gets
she gets trained,
bows, a
and
bow and
yeah,
arrow.
a
Yeah,
bow and arrow. Yeah, and she gets trained, and I can't remember his name, Quan Bo. I can't remember what his name is. Butcher it.
yeah. I think it's
Gonbo or something
Gongbo,
like that. Yeah,
Gunbo. Yeah,
but he's like, it's funny because he's like, he's kind of like not being a dick, but he's kind of just like, pay attention and do your shit. And then like even throughout the thing, he's just like, no, he's like, you stay here.
yeah,
But I mean, she gets that badass little shot later.
yeah.
But
She gets
anyways,
nice instead of just kind of standing around and being like Sean, or
yeah.
whatever.
Um, but
So yeah,
anyways, so they
and
warn the villagers that they're coming, and we get to see them do, everything. Like she's
yeah,
training
so
him,
that's
she's
it.
showing him.
Yeah, the sister kind of gets back into the swing of things with her whatever that weapon is called.
Yeah,
I don't actually know, but
I
the
don't know what it's
the
called, but
the
I know what
knife
you're talking about.
knife rope.
Yeah,
And then he starts to kind of learn a little bit about, I guess,
the
like
mystical side of.
whatever abilities his mom had. They don't really explain it. It's like air bending type
But
stuff. Like I don't even know.
it's mystic. Like we're just gonna call it
Yeah,
mystic because we're gonna get more into it after this that we talk about the movie. But this phase is going in a very different direction. But we'll get more into it here in a minute.
yeah. And my,
Um,
my honestly, my first, I was starting to think like he had like these kind of like avatar type abilities because when he's
yeah,
like under the water at the end, I was like, oh, is he gonna like start like bending himself out? I wasn't expecting the dragon, but like I was like, oh, okay, where he's gonna like have something beyond the rings, which he does. He's got So like he'll have to work on them more because he doesn't really use them in this movie, but he
Yeah.
has abilities beyond just the rings, which is
Yeah.
nice. But yeah, they train up a little bit, and then the Mandarin arrives,
Yep.
and they, go into battle, and it's this kind of big thing where they're just, I don't know, it's a big battle.
The big battle. I mean, but it's a typical battle. You know, you got the back and
Yeah,
forth, and
it's more
um,
more interesting is when he kind of breaks off and goes
yes, and they
for
start
his
the one
dad.
on one. Yes, the one on
Yeah,
one is it's cool. It's very nicely set up, but you can clearly tell that he's outmatched. Like, yeah, he's kind of holding his own, but you can tell he's not. He doesn't hold a candle to his dad. Like you can tell he
yeah.
doesn't in this point.
One thing
His
we
dad
did
hits
skip
him with
over.
that double fist.
One thing we did skip over real quick that I want to say that I absolutely loved is when they're talking on the cliff right before the battle, and it's him and Katie, and he's like, "No, I lied to you," or whatever. Like, I actually did kill that guy, and I said I
Oh
couldn't go through with it,
yes,
but I did kill him. I
he
was
did
like,
kill him.
that
Yeah,
is so great. Like, that's such a thank you. Like, because of course he would. Like, of course he would
yeah,
go and kill the guy and kill his mom. Like, nobody would, like, everybody in the in all Marvel movies is won't typically won't kill, or at least won't kill in like a way like that for revenge. Like, it's
yeah,
always, I couldn't go through it, I can't do that, blah blah blah. I'm sure you're no good at, you're just as bad as them if you do it. But like,
yeah. No, he's
come
like, no,
on,
I
like,
killed him.
he's still a great person,
Yeah,
and he killed the person that killed his mom, and like he accepts that and admits it, and it's like great, fantastic. Like, that added so much to his character for me,
I did.
and it made me appreciate him a lot more.
Humanize him more because he was just
Yeah,
having a very
that's what I'm
human
saying.
moment.
He doesn't feel like
Um,
this like hero archetype that's just like
Holier
so
than
too good
thou.
for everything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, again, yeah, that moment is good. It makes you think that he's not going to tell her the truth or that he was just going to leave it as is. But no, he flat out tells her, and it's nice.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, going back into the battle, I mean, dude, his dad fucking hits him with that double hit. You know,
Yeah,
he hits him in the stomach, and
he
before he falls,
punches
and
him up,
yeah,
and then
and then he
has the
hits him again
ring
into
pull
the
him back
water,
down and puts the rings back on his fist, and then hits him with a full like powered
dude.
punch.
Yeah,
Really
straight
dope.
into the water, and it looks amazing.
Hmm.
That whole final sequence of them fighting, it's very, very Dragon Ball. It's very,
Yeah.
it is. I would love to see the art team behind this make an actual Dragon Ball movie because honestly, it's so
Yeah.
fucking cool.
As I was saying, I've seen
Um,
people say like this kind of proves, this is like a proof of concept that it is possible to make a Dragon Ball movie, like if you get the right people to do it. You know what I mean?
exactly. But but yeah, I mean, and then he's in the water, and you hear her voice again, and so he goes to follow, and he's starting to hit the gate with the
Oh
rings.
yeah, and he
And
does. Yeah, he releases the little soul suckers, which show up and then
but
start kind of, huh?
believe it or not, I really like the movie from this point forward. It takes a very different turn, but I
Hmm.
really like it from this moment forward because it's a small glimpse, and it's a very small glimpse of the future. But there were some nice little elements in there of like what we could get in terms of like a darker theme. Like, dude, we watched somebody so get completely pulled out of them. Like, this
Hmm.
is good setups for darker themes like Blade and like Ghost Rider, and you know what I mean. Like, it's definitely very in the mystic and the arts and the darker side of like magic. Like, it's very magical, and that's just it. Like, I feel up to Black Widow, we have had some magic, but it's mostly been very techy. Like some of the powers are explained through tech,
Yeah.
you know, things like that. Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, even Scarlet Witch's powers were for the longest time considered techy. You know, she got them through technology, but that's not the
Hmm.
truth. Now here we are finally in phase 4, and we're getting Doctor Strange's multiverse of madness. We're getting the Eternals. We're getting,
Right.
you know, we got Shang Chi. We got Spider Man. That's got heavily magic influences. Um, you know, we have like it's insane that phase 4 is definitely going to be heavily influenced by magic. I see that being a
Yeah,
theme in most of the
for sure.
movies. And that's
Um.
okay. I'm okay with that. It's nice that they're finally moving away from the trying to make it too realistic. I love that. I really like that.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes comic books.
Yeah.
Um, so it's
He
good that we're moving away from
releases.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be. It makes sense to have them move that way in order to have, whatever the next big bad is going to be. If it's going to be more powerful than Thanos, then they're going to need,
Has to be something magical.
yeah, you can't just keep hitting him with an Iron Man suit.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, he releases the like soul suckers. They see those kind of come into action, and the two factions team up to fight them. And I noticed now,
Oh
actually,
wait!
interestingly,
You don't just gloss over that because there was a really that shit made me laugh so hard where he was like, "Oh, stop trying to trick us. We're not gonna
yeah.
just team up with you." And
And
then you see
then
the
the
one
guy
that gets
behind
his soul
him,
sucked. He's like, "We all need to work together." Like, dude, the way
yeah.
his quick turnaround was amazing. It was so funny. Um,
I
but
think that
yeah,
like now after seeing that What If episode as well, there's kind of some similarities almost in the way that they suck the souls out of the people and the way that
yeah,
Doctor Strange was
did it?
absorbing
Yes,
the creatures. Like that, even in that same effect, like it has that weird like a rainbow sort of effect of them like their soul being pulled out.
yep,
I don't know if there's anything to that, but they have very similar kind of effects in design.
they do.
Um, so yeah, they team up and start fighting those, and he's still punching it and starting to break it even more.
And then we
And more of
have
them are getting out. But he does. There's one thing that I love that, and it's only one time when he punches
yes
the gate where he
when
transfers
he transfers
every
everyone
ring
to one
onto
hand.
one arm and hits it with
Yes.
one like massive punch. I was like, that is so dope.
Why didn't we see more of that, dude? Like that
I
was
think
awesome.
it's good. That's one thing is like it's gonna be like a more. There's gonna be a lot more, especially on like whatever the next like big team up movie is gonna be in.
Yeah.
Shang Chi is gonna do that at some point. Like
Because
he's
honestly,
gonna. It's
dude,
gonna
like,
be a
and it's
big
not
deal.
not even just how cool the punch is, how awesome it looks up his whole arm. It looks like armor up the.
Yeah,
Oh, dude, it's just cool. Design wise,
yeah.
I do like that they made them bracelets, not rings. I love it. I think it was the smartest way to go. They look more
Provides
lethal.
so
They look
much
more
interesting
scary.
things,
It
like him
does.
using them to like run up and like
Whips.
step on them, and
Yep.
whips and like
Yep. Oh,
throwing them, and oh
so
my god, I don't
good.
even know.
So
Like
good.
he uses them to cover different parts of his body. Like there's points when they're fighting,
Yep.
that he
Um,
like they hit at each other. There's one point where he kicks him, and like the dad blocks it with the arm, and his arm
yeah.
is covered in like three rings, and then
Yeah.
Shang-Chi's leg is covered in like three rings, so that the blows like cancel each other out, and neither of
Yeah.
them actually get hurt because at the end of the day they're still both just human. Like they don't
Yeah.
have
No, they're
any
not
sort of
super ability. No, they're just
superhuman like
no. They are just
strength or
human.
anything. Yeah,
Those rings are make them, god tier basically.
yeah.
Um,
Which are the rings making? Is the rings what make him immortal? Is
yeah,
that what it
yeah.
is?
The rings are what make him immortal.
How
Yes,
does that work though? Because he takes
it's
them
just the
off.
energy of it. It's just the energy of it. He does. He
Like,
did take them off, and he aged. He took them off in 1996, and he
but he
let
looks
himself
exactly the
age.
same though.
But not really. He does have gray. He didn't have gray before it. That's all they did is just they grayed him up
Maybe
and they
I
made
feel
him
like
look a little
they
older. He cut
could
his
have
hair.
explained that a little bit better. I
But he
felt
did
like,
take them off, and he did put them back on after the mom died. So
yeah,
even then, no, you're right. He doesn't look that much older because he's not going to. The mom died. He put them back on, but he
yeah.
put
I
them
guess
back
it
on
was
while they
like
were still
8
young.
years,
Yeah,
or
not
hold on,
even
yeah, like
like
no, like 7. It was 7. He was 7, like because Shang-Chi was 7 years old. So
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
say
So
like
yeah,
9. They were together for like 9 years or something. Let's say
uh,
just as like an estimate. But
yeah,
anyway, yeah, he releases more of them. They're having fights with the different like soul sucking monsters, and they can only be damaged with like the dragon scale tools.
yep.
And then yeah, Shang-Chi kind of like wakes up the dragon under the water and kind of flies out on it. And that
Awesome.
dragon, the design, the specifically like the colors,
Yeah,
I was not expecting like the coloring. It was very dope. The
yeah. I mean,
red,
to be
like
fair,
white and green.
it matches what they're wearing though,
Yeah.
because she's wearing a white and green scale. He's wearing a red and blackish scale, and it matches what they're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
very cool.
very cool, and it's flying around, and it's fucking like helping
Taking them
destroy
down,
shit.
and
And at
then
one point, I thought we were gonna have a brutal moment when those little soul suckers jumped on his eye.
yeah.
Dude, I was like, oh shit, like this dragon's about to lose an eye. But it
But
doesn't.
then Jelling
Yeah,
saves him with the knife
yeah.
thing.
Um,
Yeah, then
then
the massive, the big soul sucker, whatever it's called. I don't know if it has an
no, no,
actual
no, no,
name.
no, you're skipping over it because they start the fight again. The dad and him start the fight again, and we get to see the cool moment where they foreshadowed it with the mom, where he shoots the rings at him and he catches them and transfers his own energy and takes over for him, and that's a big
Yeah,
deal.
yeah.
That's a
And then
very big deal.
they have that fight where they're like crazy stuff where he's like jumping, running up the
Yeah,
rings, they're
yes,
hitting each other
that
with
those
different kicks
moments
and
are
punches up the
awesome.
rings and stuff. And
Yeah, and I
then
mean,
that
at one
last
point he
point,
gets
which
all
is
10. Yeah,
there's just super Dragon Ball when the
yeah,
dad like launches him up and then hits him with one like last ditch
and
punch where
he
he sends all
smashes the
5
wall,
into him.
dude. Yes,
And it like he's like they're up in there and he sends them straight down like diagonally, like such a very Dragon Ball like moment
yeah,
for
it
sure.
is. It
And then
is.
that's when he gathers all 10 of them. Shang
Yeah,
Chi
and then
does.
he fucking builds up the energy to slam into him, and then he just drops it.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is not basically. He's just like, fuck off. Like, we don't have to do this. He's like, you're being tricked. Like, pay attention. And then we don't even get to see. You can see that the dad's obviously thinking, and then boom, the thing unleashes.
Which is called the Dweller in Darkness.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, the dweller
Which is
breaks
very
loose.
cool design as well. Very what a God, what is it? What's the God, what is his name? Very Lovecraftian
Oh yeah.
design. Yeah, like
Um,
Cthulhu
yep.
type thing.
Cool looking
Very
creature.
cool.
And we lose the dad. He does
Yeah,
die.
its
You
soul
know, he
sucked.
dies, but right before he dies, he shoots all the rings over to Shang Chi, and he
Yep.
sets them all. And then we have that fucking the sister comes and saves him, and the
Yeah,
creature
and they
starts to
get
head
on the
towards the
dragon,
village, and they both get on the dragon together in a very cool way. By the way, he runs next to the dragon. That was very Dragon Ball Z. By the
and
way,
he
he
like
says
and he
next
like
to the dragon,
bam,
he
he like
punches
shoots
up.
himself
Yeah,
up with the rings.
yeah,
Yeah, very
that's
dope.
very Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I love that movement system that they set up, and they don't use it too much, but I'm sure we'll get more of it of him. Like he launches himself, and then like to save his legs when he lands, he also shoots it again
Yeah,
to kind of counteract the momentum, which is very cool. So yeah, and then you get kind of like just a little bit of a fight between the dragon and them, and they're just kind of hanging on for dear life at
yeah.
that point. And then
Um,
they need to hit the throat. Gongbo or
Yeah,
whatever his
because the
Guanbo gets
dragon's
killed.
having the dragon's having its soul sucked out of it. And if he
Yeah.
manages to suck the soul out of the dragon, he's basically immortal and can take over the world. Um, so they
Yeah,
tell him we
then
got to
he
shoot the
dies,
throat, and then boom, he dies, and
and then it's
they
up to
get
Katie.
very tense. Like it was up to Katie, but for a second, I didn't think Katie was going to do shit because
Yeah,
his sister's telling him, "Oh, let me go," and he's like you can see they're thinking about it for a second. And he's like, "No, I'm not letting you
nah,
go."
yeah, which I'm
And
glad.
then
That's
boom,
smart
the
thing to
arrow
do.
goes through, and you're like, "Oh, thank God!" Because the soul
Woo!
was like literally out of its mouth. It was about to get sucked in.
Yeah,
Um, and then we have the moment where he falls, and then Shang-Chi is in the air, and he like launches the braces at him.
and,
He builds up the energy and blows him the fuck up, and it's just
yeah,
like,
goes
dude,
down the throat like his mouth open from
yeah,
the arrow, and then
yeah,
uses that to just blow him into pieces.
yeah,
Which is
yeah, man,
very
it's
nice.
so good. It's good. Why? It makes me really mad. Hold on, let's actually go through the ending. Then the ending is they're sitting at the table and they're telling the story, and the girl's basically like, "Bullshit! You expect me to believe 2 weeks ago you guys were just parking cars and now you're saving the world?" And then Wong comes up behind them with the portal, and she's like, "Oh, we
Yep.
gotta go," and they leave. And then we get our after credit scenes. And did you notice how old Bruce?
Yes. But
So much
not
older.
just to mention that, but he's
He's not
not
Hulk.
Hulk anymore. He's
Yeah,
not
he's
Professor
not Hulk,
Hulk.
and
They
his
just
legs
undid
still.
that.
I mean, his arm is still fucked. Like
Yeah.
he
Oh,
didn't do
that's what
that.
that was. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
he has
was
a
like, why is
brace.
his
His
arm
arm.
broken? I was like,
Yeah,
what is this?
it's from the snapping. It's still messed up from the snapping. He never healed it.
Of course.
So
But yeah.
and then like Captain Marvel's like, "Oh, I gotta go. I gotta deal with this," and she hangs up the call, and he's like, "Welcome to our circus," and he
Maybe
leaves.
that has something to do with why he's not Hulk right now. Maybe he had to transform in order to heal properly somehow for some reason.
Maybe we'll
Like
see.
something about how big his arm is and or something. Like maybe he had to do that to get back to full strength or something.
I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah,
But
I did think that was interesting.
yeah, and then we have
And
that.
they
Oh,
revealed
that's a
that,
setup for Eternals.
which
Just
I
so you know.
thought, yeah,
Yeah, that's what it
I
is.
guessed that myself, even though I don't know anything about the Eternals. I guessed that because
Yeah,
I told my
because
friend, I was like, we're like, what is that like tracking thing about? And it's like, well, I bet because he mentions that the
it's
um
old.
yeah, dating back like 1,000 years for his
Yep.
dad, and then they're like, well, it's clearly older than that. And I was like, haha.
Yeah,
So
so
it's
it's a
probably
setup for the
something related to
Eternals,
them. Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
And I'm guessing, my guess would be then that the Eternals movie, I guess, probably must end maybe with them leaving Earth or something. I don't know. I don't know anything about the Eternals, so don't spoil it for me. I don't even know if they're from Earth or what is
I'm
it
not
is
telling
about
you
them.
anything.
But I would assume that
It
tracker is
sends out a
for
signal.
them to come back, and then that's how we'll
I'm not
get
gonna
the
say nothing.
Eternals
Let's just get off
at
the Eternals. Let's
2,000.
get off the Eternals, boy.
I'm just putting out what my guess is,
No,
not
I get
knowing
what you're
anything
saying. I
about
get
it,
what you're saying. I have a guess, but I
just so
can't
you can
say it
see what
because it's
my
spoilery.
my interpretation of it would be, not knowing
Um,
anything about them.
but
But
yeah,
yeah,
and
and
then we
then
have the second after
second
credit
one.
scene, and that one's important. I mean, that one's really important because it sets up the 10 rings do not get shut down like they thought.
But
It's just
again,
over.
this 100% has to be again another. They're setting up another villain for whatever this team is that they're building.
Yes. Yes.
100%. I'm telling like they've set up Yelena. They set up. I mean, possibly Agatha could possibly show up
Back, yeah.
again. And then who was the other one? God, whatever his name is, Walker. Is his name Walker? Whatever the guy was from Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh yes.
Something agent.
Yeah. Yeah. U.S. agent.
U.S.
U.S.
agent.
agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now her for the 10 rings. So they're very definitely setting something up here. I don't know what it's going to be exactly. Like it's going to be, probably some. God, what are they called?
Side,
What are they
like a
called?
side. I think it's gonna be like a side boss until we get our big bad.
Oh,
Because we got Avengers. You talking about the Thunderbolts?
Thunderbolts. Thank you. Yeah,
Yes, Thunderbolts.
something like that. Or
I
they'll
feel
maybe
like we're
make it
gonna
like
get
Dark
Avengers
Avengers or
versus
whatever.
Thunderbolts. No, I feel like we're gonna get an Avengers versus Thunderbolts mission. Or even just or not mission, but movie. Because we got the Avengers and we got Age of Ultron, and then finally we got Infinity War and Endgame. They had to build up the hype for those big movies. So I do feel like the Thunderbolts is going to be like a stepping stone towards the big bad of the whole next set of phases. That's going to be
Right.
another 10 years from now.
But yeah, so yeah, they set her up and all that, and I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? There's throughout the movie, there's something. Oh God, well, I totally forgot. I don't even know. Well, one thing I will say though is you see we kind of missed like Trevor. You see Trevor is also wearing like clothes, like the robes at the end, and they fight.
Yeah.
He's like standing there, but then
Yeah.
later, he's just playing dead because he's too
Yeah,
scared to
that
actually
shit's
do anything.
funny as hell, man. He's like, stop it, chap. He's like, I'm playing dead. He's like, you should do the same thing. And then boom,
Yeah.
he does the same thing. But here, I'm just gonna give my final thoughts while you think of whatever you're thinking about. See, my final thoughts with this whole thing is Black Widow should have never came out, or should have come out as part of Phase 3. Because honestly, Shang-Chi would have been an amazing Phase 4 opener.
Fantastic.
Oh, it's such a good way. This feels like a nice welcome back to Marvel movies. This is good. Again, it's not that I'm hating on Black Widow, but Black Widow, there was no people didn't see our full review on it because unfortunately that episode did get fucked. So we gave like a semi talk about it, but there wasn't a sense of danger. There wasn't a sense of anything with that movie.
Wait,
And with this one, it's like, oh shit!
What are you talking about?
Like there was no sense of like we knew what happened.
I mean, like our it's all up there. It's all in the first episode. All of our thoughts.
Yeah,
on
it's on the first episode, but not fully like we want it to be. Because don't forget that when we first talked about it, it was way better. Like we talked way more in depth. Like we did talk about it in depth, but not as much as we should have.
I suppose maybe.
And this is like a second. It doesn't matter. Whatever. Point is, Black Widow was a bad start to Phase 4. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
It was a bad start to Phase 4. Shang-Chi was mwah, it was so good. Chef's kiss. It's good. It's good. It's got me excited for the Eternals. I don't even want to talk about my fucking hype for Spider-Man. I don't even want to talk about it. I can't talk about it because you're a little bitch boy ass.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
Dude, this was so I enjoyed this so much more not knowing like anything about this was so much more intriguing to me. Like specifically, like this is another point where like not knowing anything made me like made some of the stuff surprise me more. Like I don't know, like stuff like the bus scene, like just even these action scenes, like not knowing that anything was going to happen on the bus. Like I was like, oh, we're doing this now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that. I get it. I respect it. Hell, shit. Like, I'm honestly like I'm excited for what's coming. I've already watched 2 Eternals trailers. They haven't shown barely dick about it, and I'm okay with that. Like, Marvel needs to come up with a better system of showing less but hyping you up.
Yeah.
Because I would still like to discuss the future of Marvel if any way we can, but it's hard because you don't watch trailers. Again, not even bashing on it. I respect it. It's nice to go into the movie blind.
Yeah.
Because I stayed away from as much. Dude, anytime Shang-Chi came up on my TikTok feed or Twitter or Reddit or anything, I just skipped right past it. I didn't even wait. The moment I saw a hashtag of Shang-Chi, boom, out.
I the Eternals is even. I know even less about the Eternals, so I'm like Eternals, like this is something I was like, this seems interesting. Like Shang-Chi sounds interesting. Eternals seems to me like just off the name and like I've seen, some of the people and stuff, like it seems like not interesting to me, but I
I
have to
don't think
trust and
it's
have
gonna
faith
be
that it's
good. No, I don't think it's gonna be as good as Shang-Chi. I don't think so. It's gonna be better than Black Widow, but I don't think it's gonna be better than Shang-Chi. I'm calling that right now. I think it has too
yeah,
many actors. Um, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be decent. It's just not gonna be Shang-Chi is dude, that
yeah,
set the
really
bar.
great.
For Phase 4, set the bar.
Yeah, for sure, set the bar. Uh,
Um,
real quickly, like before we back out, I would like to say like talk about just something interesting, like the director for the movie, Destin Daniel Cretton, I think. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Just interesting that he has done three, or he did like three other movies that he was well known for, which are all just like straight up like
Martial arts.
human dramas. No, they're just like
Oh,
drama movies, and well, interestingly, they all star Brie Larson as well.
huh.
But they're all just like intense, like emotional drama movies, and so
And
like
yet,
he's
this is
now
like his
doing
first
this.
action, and it's
Yeah,
dude.
and
Welcome to the action genre, because you're fucking
they do
amazing.
this, like Marvel has done that a lot. Like they find these directors that haven't taken on these massive like helmed these massive action movies before, and they give
And they've
that put
given,
their faith
yeah.
in them, and it almost always turns out amazingly, and they've done it
And this movie
again.
was good. Like on again, like it's up there, man. It's up there.
And just to
I'm not
point out
even
another
just hyped.
thing, helping the action along. This movie
Yeah,
was shot, or like the cinematographer for this movie was Bill Pope, who was cinematographer for all three of the Matrix movies, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, Scott
oh
Pilgrim
damn.
versus the World.
Oh
Insane movies. Baby Driver,
yeah.
like great action movies. So that is another thing, like heavily leaning into why the action in this movie is so fantastic. On top of Simu Liu being able to do most of his own stunts, all this stuff, like all of it came together just to create this perfect storm of like action bliss.
Of a very unknown character, mind you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
very unknown. I don't think
dude,
anybody really
props,
knows who Shang-Chi is, to be
props,
honest, especially if
props.
you don't know any comics.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I fucking knew exactly who Shang-Chi was. No, not
No.
at all. No, I'm not gonna
I
sit here and
was
act like I knew. I knew. I knew the
before I
name.
looked into it. Before I looked into it, I was unsure if they had just like created a new character. Like I wasn't even sure.
That's
Um,
funny. I only knew the name because it does get mentioned in some comics. I have a Marvel Unlimited, but it does get mentioned in
mhm.
some comics. But I only knew the name. I didn't know the character.
But yeah,
Um,
now I remember what I wanted to say is and I don't know if they ever actually team up or have anything like in the comics, but like there's a lot of parallels and similarities here to Iron Fist for this, like
yes.
just in the like the mostly in like he like leaves for 10 years
Mhm.
and stuff like that, like, but except it's kind of the opposite in that he
Opposite. Yeah.
leaves, he goes
Oh,
to a city.
yeah.
um but and also just like the village being like this place that you can only get to like at a certain time, it's only
Yep.
open at certain times, and it's in another dimension, exactly like Kunlun. And it's just like
But
I
you
mean
know
I
what? Iron Fist ain't got shit on anything else in Marvel, bro.
no,
I
I mean,
hate it. I hate
I
that
haven't seen
show.
season two yet. I've heard season two is better, but I didn't think season one was completely like trash. Like there was definitely good elements to it for sure that they could have done a lot better with.
Compared to
But
Daredevil, bro. Oof.
I do like and he's doing the best he can with the dialogue and the writing that they give
Mhm.
him, but I don't actually know his name, or Finn Jones, who
Yeah.
plays Iron Fist in the
Iron
series.
Fist. Yeah.
I think he's a good Iron Fist. He certainly fits the look of the character really well, and I would
No, what do
love
you
to
mean? He's
see.
not Asian, bro. That was the worst fucking thing ever. I hated that for the longest
It's
time.
like
People were like,
it's the
they
only
whitewashed
case.
the character.
It's
And
the
I was like,
only
what?
case of something where like it actually isn't, like it was
Yeah.
actually meant to be that way from the beginning.
Yeah. People were stupid when they were like, they're whitewashing. And I was like, oh my
Yeah,
God. I was
but
like, you can
I
tell.
just I would love to see him come back in some fashion in the same way that they might bring back Daredevil, or they're bringing back Punisher or stuff. Like I would love to see them
We'll see.
bring him
We'll
back
see.
into the universe, and maybe have something, have him come up alongside Shang-Chi, or maybe if they make a sequel to Shang-Chi, have him kind of team up or something like that. Like I just think their worlds mesh so well together that it would be really cool.
Yep.
But yeah, overall fantastic movie, loved
I
it.
gave this movie a solid 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I would give it.
Actually, a 9. I'm just gonna go 9. A 9 out of 10. I don't want to give it an 8. A 9.
I would say probably yeah, probably solid 8. Solid 8
Yeah,
is
I
good for
definitely
me.
like it.
Because
I'm
in
very
my
excited.
opinion, this might actually be the first Marvel movie I've ever seen where I got to like the last act and I was like, oh no, like big CGI battle. You know, like how people always complain about that.
Yeah,
Like this was the one where like the action in the first like act, like in the first act
the
in the
first like
middle
2/3 of
was
the movie.
so
Yeah,
strong. The hand to hand, I loved it so much that when we got to the more mystical stuff, I was like, okay, like this is cool, but I don't know. I
I
kind of
loved it.
prefer the hand to hand.
It's funny because
But
I was thinking it was gonna be like that for you.
yeah, but I do love the rings specifically, but it's more just like it became like a monster fight type thing, and I was like, okay, this is cool, but it's not
They
exactly
should
what
have
I
done it
was.
less.
And it
Yes, they
also
should have had us less.
came a little bit rushed, in my opinion, and that
It
like
did.
we weren't building towards this massive monster the whole movie. We just like randomly find out it exists at the very end, and then it shows up, you know.
Yeah, no, that's
So
true. I'll give
that
you
kind
that.
of weakened it a little bit for me, but still, overall, very, very strong movie.
I mean, yeah,
And I'm absolutely looking forward to everything next. And I'm really excited that we don't have to wait long. You know,
yeah.
November we get the Eternals, and then right
And then
after that, Spider
December,
Man.
dude. Oof.
Oh
And that's
man.
hey, don't sleep on. We have Hawkeye coming out too.
Oh, when is that? That's
November.
2022, right?
No, November.
No,
I swear to God. Hold on. Am I wrong? I swear to God, they said it's coming out in November. They gave a trailer that said Hawkeye. Hold on.
November 24th. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
God,
dude, we got Hawkeye coming out. Yeah, boy, we got
that's
shit coming out.
crazy.
Yep,
Sheesh. Okay. Wow. Yeah, we're going. Yeah, just doing everything.
dude, just Marvel, just left and right, just left and
And
right.
then Thor, May of 2022. That would be the
Yep,
next one.
yep,
Is going to be the next thing. That's crazy. Oh man. Yeah, so we got a lot to look forward to for sure.
we do. Yeah. I mean, this is basically gonna be the end of the episode. If anybody stuck it out this long, thank you. I'm curious as to what you guys are excited for. Let us know down in the comments, or let us know wherever we have on social media. We'd like
For
to hear your
sure.
thoughts.
I want to hear, yeah, I want to see a lot of like discussion about this movie. I'm very intrigued.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's gonna be it for today, and we will see you guys next time.
All right, see ya.